Hello, my good people. How are you? Today I'm going to do this look, you know, duh, right? And I wanted to talk about a bit of a serious topic today. I wanted to talk about two true crime cases that I saw and just giving my opinion and my take on domestic violence situations and things you should and should not do when exiting the situations. So, yeah. If you want to hear me ramble about some cases and fix my face like this, and keep watching. Bangs up, out the way. 5 head is exposed. Let's get into these brows. While I tell y'all about a story that I saw. So, I don't know the woman's name, so I'm not going to act like I do. I didn't take down any details. This is just something I genuinely have questions about. So this woman was in an abusive relationship, unfortunately. And her husband would just like fly off the rails and beat her really bad. He would just have mood changes, and the way it was described was like a switch and he was someone else, you know? I definitely have experienced that, unfortunately. I know about that. But anyway, he would beat her really, really bad. So she was afraid to leave him. They ended up having 2 or 3 kids together. And she, little by little, she was more isolated from her family and friends. Unfortunately, the typical abusive pattern. You are isolated from, basically anyone who could talk some sense into you, and you get so brainwashed and so afraid to leave that, the door is right in front of you, but you're so abused and stuck, you don't move, right? So I had like complete sympathy and understanding until, and I'm not saying any of this is her fault, I'm just trying to understand the logic or lack of logic behind this. So she was on Facebook, I believe it was, and ended up somehow getting in touch with an ex from a few years prior to her meeting her husband, the last relationship she was in. And they ended up rekindling their situation while she's still married. So, my question is, right, if you are so afraid to leave, and I completely understand because unfortunately I have, domestic violence issues in my past, so I get that point. But the last thing in the world I would have ever thought to do is cheat. All right, so her and ex-boyfriend, things they're doing their thing. I don't know how much he knew or what she told him or didn't tell him, or maybe she got back with him thinking he would protect her. He would take her out of the situation. Whatever her reasoning was, right? So then she gets to a point where she says she can't keep lying. She doesn't want to live like that. So she sits said abusive husband down and tells him not only that she's cheating on him, but that she's leaving with their children to go be with said ex. Am I the only one who thinks that maybe that just the whole cheating in general, don't get me started, that's not the route to go. If you are in a situation and you feel like to cheat on your spouse, then that person does not need to be your spouse. But that's conversation for another day. That's just my outlook on it. So she tells Captain Psycho that she is leaving him for another man and taking their children. What do you think happens if you guessed that he went clean upside her head? Right, we're on the same page. You have the same logic as I. But it didn't stop there, because abusive relationships are about control. And you not only cheated, but there's another person that you are leaving your abuser for, and he is losing all control. Not just because you're leaving, but because you have someone in his place. Hopefully not in the abusive set, but you have someone in his place. So, unfortunately, she was found a couple weeks later in a rural area, wrapped up in bed sheets. Obviously deceased. Listen, I don't condone abuse at all. I definitely don't condone cheating. If you know that you are dealing with someone who's mentally unstable, hear me clearly, and you want to be out of that situation, and I say it like that because some people are so messed up in the head that they don't even realize wholeheartedly that what they're going through is absolutely wrong, and like you want to leave that situation, the answer is not to start a new situation in that situation. That's bringing more gas to the flames. And I'm not saying she deserved it at all, because no, nobody deserves that like that. But she had to know that the outcome, it wasn't going to be him just like, oh, okay. If he knocks your head between the fridge and the stove on a regular basis for burning toast, what did you think was going to happen when you told him that you were sleeping with someone else and in a relationship? I just don't understand people sometimes. I saw another case, similar situation, but without the cheating. She was with this man. Well, she was married, and her husband, they owned a gym. They were doing very well for themselves. During the course of their marriage, he became very controlling, of course, after they got married. And after, they had children, and she started to notice he wouldn't help her with the kids. Physical altercations became more and more frequent. And when she finally got up the nerve to leave, in my opinion, her biggest mistake was calling him and taunting him. And I'm not saying she's, whatever. I just think that just leave. You don't have to announce your departure. Like, especially with someone who is physically harming you. Why are you telling them anything? They're not on your side. I don't know if you know that. They're not on your side. They're not going to be happy for you. They're not going to help you. None of that. Nothing good is going to come from telling your abuser that you're leaving. But anyway, she did that with their, I believe, 2 or 3 children. So she does that. She called him and, was throwing it in his face that she left and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So a little bit of time goes by. She's at her mom's house. He convinces her to meet up with him. And, of course, he was playing the victim. Oh, you took my kids from me, blah, blah, blah. She didn't want the children to go with him by themselves for fears that he was going to take the kids and run away, of course, because they're going to try to get you back however they can. Like, you step on their toe, they want to break your neck. That's, it's extreme like that. So she meets up with him publicly. She lets him get in her car, and she notices he has a bottle, and in that bottle is gasoline. She didn't know that. So he hurries up, opens the bottle, pours gasoline on her, their 3 small children and himself. And before she could even think, he lit a match and everybody went up in flames. So she was able to get out of the car. There was someone on the block that she was on. Unfortunately, they were not able to get hit. She was burned very, very badly. He got out the car and he was physically, while on fire, trying to stop people from saving her and his children. And then I believe while he was burning, he shot himself also. So he was gone and she was fighting for her life. Their children did not make it. And, you know, she's just laying there repeating, I couldn't save them. I couldn't save them. And my thing is, that has to be a mother's worst nightmare. But I think she's just laying there repeating, I couldn't save them. I couldn't save them. And my thing is, that has to be a mother's worst nightmare. But I think in both of these situations, the biggest mistake that either of them made was their mouths. And I'm not saying it in a way that they deserved it, but sometimes I don't even want to say but because I don't even want it to sound like that's what I'm going for. I'm not. The lesson that I took away from that is, which is something I already knew, is duh. You don't have to like people who are abusing you, they don't love you. There's something going on there. They really don't love you. And yeah, they are willing to take your life. Believe it or not. Whether it starts with, you know, one slap, turns into one kick, turns into one punch, turns into weapons, you know, like it will escalate. And if you stay, unfortunately, there's a big chance that you're not going to have a chance to move on with your life. But, you know, the blessing in both of their situations was that they were able to get away. And then the mistake that they made was opening their mouths. In a situation like that, in either one of them, from the way and I'm not saying, you know, one is better than the other, but like I said, there's levels to things. And the levels of beating that these men used to put these women through, what in their minds made them want to call these men to tell them, haha, rub it in their face, I'm leaving? No. See, if it were me, I'm just going to disappear. I'm just going to disappear. You're not going to see me anymore. Changing my phone number. Like, I'm literally taking it as I'm running for my life because literally that's what it is. And you just shouldn't be calling them, taunting them, telling them, hey, you lost your power. Like, no. Let the last time he spoke to you be the last time he spoke to you. He or she. I don't want to just, you know, specify it to men because there are a lot of abusive women out there. But I just try to understand. I watch these cases constantly. Like, I'm huge on true crime. Like, I love it. I watch it every day. And it's like just seeing these cases, I just wonder what would make you want to do that. Like, I know sometimes you want them to feel it, but I promise you, and this goes for situations that even aren't abusive, once you're gone, they're gonna feel it anyway. You don't have to say nothing. You don't have to gloat, put it in their face, be petty, be thankful that you made it out, and don't look back. And I also know that it's hard to just let go because even though that person didn't love you, you may still love them. So that's a whole other, you know? And trust me, I get it. I get it. And I'm not talking from a judgmental place. I'm talking from a I've been there place. I've been there. You think that this person is your sun, moon, and stars because they've made you believe that. You have no one. No one cares about you but them. And they're not controlling. They just want the best for you. They know better than you. And all you have to do is listen to them. And if you don't, all hell's going to break loose. But why am I putting on mascara before I did eyeshadow? Crazy. But yeah. Another thing I like to watch is videos of shoplifting. Cracks me up. The audacity. The way people get so mad at the police for arresting them for stealing. Lord, Lord, Lord. It's amazing. Is the mascara interesting? Look at that. I have like no eyelashes. Naturally. My eyelashes are so short and just almost non-existent. But yeah. If you are going through any type of domestic violence and you see a way out, no matter how much you want to know that the person who was hurting you is hurting because you're gone, do not contact them. If you are blessed and lucky to get away, do not contact them. Not a call, not a text, not an email. If you are in a position where you can get a different phone, do that too. Get a whole different phone. Don't even keep the same phone. Throw it away. Because 2025 and even before that, people are doing crazy things. There's trackers on your phone, all that. Get a whole new phone on a whole new service. Like, when you're plotting your exit, make sure that part of your exit plan is if you feel like you want to stick it to them, leave a note. But once you are out of, their vicinity, don't look back. Looking back could be the difference between your happy ending or just an ending. You feel me? Someone who hurts you doesn't love you. Do not taunt them. They're already touched in the brain. Do not poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. And these women didn't deserve it. They really didn't. It was terrible situations. Even the one that cheated did not deserve it. But ma'am, you had to know something. It was like, if you are cheating with this man, right? And he knows that your husband is abusive. He never pulled up to try to save you, sis. So what are you telling? What are you telling Psycho Michael for? Psycho Michael being a husband. What are you telling him for? You gotta use more common sense and less pettiness when dealing with life and death situations. Because, man, abusive people, male or female, they do not like to lose. And when you leave them, they have lost. They are hurting. Rest assured, they are hurting. Their pride is shot. They feel terrible. Just know that. But you don't have to hear it or see it. Focus on building a better life for yourself and, your children if you have, and just moving on. Happy, healthy, safe, alive, But yeah, I'm almost done here. There's like so many cases. I have to like write down notes. I watch so many cases a day and I'm just like, what is going on with people? Why did you do that? I'm like sitting there screaming at my iPad. Why did you do that? Like, it's not going to change the story, but like, just please. Just please. But anyway, I hope everybody is aware of the signs and knows the difference between someone actually looking out for you versus being controlled and abused. And if you don't, there's so many resources out there, because sometimes people truly don't know. It's really not an automatic thing. It's really not that obvious. And abusers, you know, who've been doing it for a long time, they know what they're doing because they've been doing it for a long time. They're skilled in what they do, and, you know, especially when they've done it, you know, to multiple people, they can have you in a situation where you don't even know that you are sinking deeper and deeper into a dark situation. So, my advice, if it's worth anything or means anything, is that if you notice, you know, jealousy and love bombing, and, you know, all of a sudden they want to tell you what you should be wearing, and, oh, you shouldn't hang out with your friends or hang out with them, or they're trying to make themselves the center of your life and you're not, understands that in itself is a form of abuse. That's one of the steps. They start to seclude you. So just be aware. They start making you think, you know, all your family and friends don't care about you. And, you know, they're trying to do bad things to you. They give off this us against the world thing. Be careful of that. Because it's not y'all against the world. It's abuser controlling you and blocking anyone else out who could tell you that you're being abused and controlled. Yeah. Just wanted to keep it simple and cute. I think I want to gloss on top of this. I don't know. I'm not feeling the lip right now. Not feeling the lip right now. Let me choose a lip. I'll be right back. I had to stop. I'm like, wait, where's my terrible wing liner? It's right there now, y'all. You know, I can't do a wing to save my life. But yeah, so the takeaway from this video and what I was shooting for: know the signs that you're being abused and manipulated. Also, if you get out, stay out. Please don't go back. And once you're away from your abuser, do not contact them anymore if you absolutely don't have to. If you don't have kids with the person, or, you know, sometimes it's even better if the person doesn't want anything to do with their kids, or they may weaponize the kids against you. But, you know, only keep contact with them if you have to. If you don't, if your spouse or, you know, your ex, whoever, your abuser wants to be a deadbeat, let them. Move on with your life. You made it out. You made it out alive. You are not on the news. You are not the subject of one of the true crime cases that I've watched. So don't taunt them. Don't talk to them. Keep going. Like, you don't have to get back at them. You leaving is the best way to get back at them. So yeah. You know, this one was a little serious, a little heavy, but yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one.